Hey guys, and welcome back to another Planet Zoo video. So in this build we are going to be working on our Proboscis monkey habitat for DLC Zoo. So this is a bit of an interesting one because I started building it at night time. Obviously DLC Zoo is a franchise, so I just sort of started building at night time. Didn't want to mess with the time too much, just to see what it'd be like really. I don't think I'd do it again, just because it is quite dark and you can't quite see everything quite the same. But that being said, this I've decided that the whole DLC zoo is going to be focusing on like a nighttime kind of zoo, so it looks really nice at nighttime as well as in the day. So essentially I have decided to change the layout a little bit of the zoo. So this area that we're working on now is now in the swamp zone. So we're going to have the different biomes. We're going to have the tropical rainforest, which then leads down into the swamps. And the swamps then lead into the sort of desert mountains. And then we're going to have like the Arctic area. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I might do it as an indoor area just to mix it up a bit. But yeah, so obviously the Proboscis monkeys like to swim quite a bit. In fact, Proboscis monkeys have webbed feet, which is quite interesting. They swim that much. So I decided that I wanted to kind of have like lots of different layers, like, you know, lots of water in this habitat, you know, really fitting in this kind of swamp theme that we started with the tapir habitat last time. So obviously I think the next habitat after this will probably be the pygmy hippo from the deluxe pack, because that really just fits in with that kind of, you know, swampy, marshy kind of a feel. And I think again it should tie in nicely with the Komodo dragons, because they also like to be near water and things, so it should be nice to kind of have that leading on into the desert zone, and it should flow quite nicely, but we shall have to see. Obviously we've got the otters in the back there as well. So yeah, the idea for this habitat was essentially like a tiki kind of boathouse, leading into some kind of tree houses, I guess, like a tiki kind of theme. So this was the start of the boathouse. Originally I wasn't sure what to build it out of, but then I decided I would go for the, you know, just traditional wooden theme, I guess. There's a lot of kind of log work in this habitat. I'm really pleased with how it turned out though. Like, it's just really aesthetic, and I just really like how it kind of turned out. So I'm kind of excited to kind of do this one really. So yeah, this is just the, you know, the Planet Zoo standard panels. So again, I wanted to create a boathouse. This was how the keepers access most of the habitat as well. The keepers can only get to the front bit really, which is why all the food enrichment items will only be in the front area, but I mean that doesn't bother me too much. And you know, I decided that this would just be kind of like a bit of an Asian, maybe kind of boathouse thing, fitting in with the jungle theme mainly. That's the main thing I was going for here, was continuing the kind of jungly, swampy kind of feeling. We're now starting to run out of plants. You know, the plants are going to start drying up and it's going to become more of a desert theme. So it's just trying to, you know, merge these areas together, I guess, and, you know, trying to think ahead to that. So I thought, well, if we have the boathouse here, then we can then do like the hippos on the other side and just, again, make it like this kind of like mangrovey kind of swamp habitat. So yeah. And then this is just, again, I decided to have like an upper area inside this. Obviously they're monkeys, they like to climb, so I figured, well, most boathouses kind of have like storage upstairs, so I will build this to have storage upstairs, and that can be the area that they can get away to sleep if they want to get out of the eyesight of like the guests visiting. So that was the idea with this. Again, originally I wasn't quite sure, like where I live in Oxford there's quite a few boathouses on the River Thames, which was kind of what inspired the idea for this. So I was originally going to go for like brick and like, you know, slate, but then I decided, well, wait, we're in the jungle, let's go for a tiki theme. So we started using the South American pieces to kind of, you know, just build this kind of theme. And as you can see, I spent a little bit of time working on some lights, lighting it all up, and then we kind of go to the nighttime area again, just to, you know, make it look like it's how it looks at night, because I'm very, very focusing on the zoo. This zoo has to be perfect. It's got to be better than Alphabet Zoo will ever be. It's got to be, everything is going to be into consideration. We've got talk areas, we're going to be having vista points as well, which I'm going to be building in the next couple of habitats, fitting them in. Probably go through. Obviously I do a lot of work on the zoo outside of recording as well, like just building up areas, building up the vegetation, because if I showed you all the vegetation I would have literally hours and hours of footage, as that takes me that long to do all the vegetation. And you know, just after work I like to come home and relax and just, you know, place a few trees really. So yeah, this is the start of the kind of structures that I start building. I knew what I wanted to do. I was feeling a bit uninspired, as I've been feeling quite uninspired lately. I think that's just because I'm not really getting out as much and I'm not seeing things that are inspiring me. So I was really struggling to kind of work out what I wanted to do with these, like how I was going to build this building. So in the end, I messed around with it and then came back to recording, as you can see, and I didn't want, like, the circle pieces, if you use like the quarter circles, were just too big. So I decided I would use the art pieces and try and make my own kind of circle that was like the size I was after. So the idea is that they have these little kind of funky little house things that are, again, fitting in with the theme. They're not perfect. I probably wouldn't do them how I've done them. Again, I'd probably do them very differently. And then there's like a little bridge that goes between them and they can climb, you know, between the two. Originally I wasn't going to fill this all in, but then later on I fill it all in and actually make it into a building, put windows and stuff in it. It was just mainly because, like, I didn't want that really. I really, to start with, was actually kind of against having like house kind of shapes. So in the end, I probably should have just gone with house shapes and worked my way from there. So yeah, the main kind of theme of this is the kapok trees as well. They're really great because the animals can't actually climb up them, but if you can build structures that get you into them, then the monkeys can get inside the habitat, and yeah, it's just a lot like nicer really to kind of use. Like, you know, it feels like a tree house. And I think, again, often if you use the ones that the animals kind of climb up, they don't necessarily use like the bridges and things that you can build for them to actually get into the habitat, I suppose. So this was the main thing about this, was I wanted there to be lots of climbing areas. Obviously the monkeys don't really use it because in this game the monkeys are really focused on swimming, which is a bit of a weird one. I've noticed that animals that like to swim spend most of their time swimming if they can swim, which I don't necessarily think is very realistic, because, you know, like proboscis monkeys do spend most of their time in the trees. Like they rarely come down. They will swim between islands, particularly around Borneo, which is where they're from originally. There's lots of islands. They will swim between the islands, but they do spend most of their time in the trees. So that was a bit of a weird decision, I guess, by Frontier, like to make it so that they're swimming all the time. Like I feel like there should be a limit to how much they swim, because although, you know, they can use a lot of these climbing areas that I've built, they don't tend to use them, which is really frustrating because, you know, they're like the first kind of big monkey we've had that's not a great ape, and I really quite like them actually. I was surprised by how much I actually like them. I'm not really big monkey person. I do not really like my great apes. I'm definitely more of a cat or a dog person as opposed to monkey person, or even tapir. I prefer tapirs to monkeys, literally any animal compared to monkeys. Like I'd rather have lemurs than monkeys, and I think it's just because I get a bit uncanny valley with like great apes and things. They resemble humans too much and it freaks me out. So I actually quite like the proboscis monkeys because they don't really resemble humans that much. So yeah, so this was the start of some of the bridges that I wanted to build. Now, the animals can use these bridges. They can climb all up and down them, which is really good. It was really, again, like, I really, really wish we had more rope pieces in this game that were bigger. We did get some more rope pieces with the Africa pack, but they're just not. I want rope pieces the size of these, you know, like the size of the vines, like, you know, 12, 16, 8-meter ropes, because it would just make this so much more interesting. And don't get me wrong, I like how the vines turned out for this rope bridge. As you can see, I was struggling to try and find like the pieces, and that I think is the Australia bit there that should be kind of like, yeah, just filling in those gaps. But again, I want more rope pieces. Come on, Frontier, give us more rope pieces. You've done mesh pieces, please, for the love of God, give us more rope pieces, because, you know, it just makes the zoo more interesting. Just different, you know, knots, big knots, small knots, little knots. Give us more knots, more detail, more curly rope. Maybe rope that's like in different shapes, circular rope, as opposed to like, you know, and maybe just different sizes and things. I mean, these bits were fantastic. These that came with the South America pack. I love those ropes, and you know, they were fantastic. But I just feel like the rope section now is what we're lacking in. So yeah, give us more ropes, Frontier. If you're listening, give us some more ropes. So yeah, once I built these bridges, it was just a case of copying and pasting them across, making sure that it all kind of fits in how I wanted it to. I didn't want to have to keep rebuilding these bridges just because they were a nightmare to build. So I actually spent a fair bit of time just making sure that they copy and paste over correctly. And yeah, as I said, the idea is that to get to certain areas, the upper areas, they have to go on these bridges, which I really like. I really like how it turned out. And so as you can see, I was just trying to continue this across a bit, and it's okay. It doesn't fit perfectly, and it's acceptable. Like I can live with that. Again, if we had big rope pieces, that would probably change all this because you'd be able to see them line up better. Whereas this is the thing with the vines. The vines don't line up perfectly. So yeah. But anyway, back to proboscis monkeys. Proboscis monkeys are very interesting. I wasn't really aware too much of them, I guess, before they were brought out in the pack. But no, they are very interesting creatures, I think. Particularly, as I said, that they're mainly found in mangroves and islands and, you know, coastal rivers and swamps, which is kind of what I was trying to show off in this habitat, is that this is where they live, kind of a thing. And I just think it, you know, having all this, like, you know, rickety bridges make it feel like, you know, this is where people are living. They're living in the rainforest, they're living near this. We've got a few structures. Like, I think the theme for this area is that it's abandoned rainforest. Maybe there were people living here once, and there's all these, like, dilapidated structures that nature has just taken over. And I think I'm selling that. I think I am managing to sell that kind of, that story to it. So, you know, they are one of the largest monkeys in Asia as well. And they are gorgeous. They have a very nice golden colour. I think they have such an interesting colour as well. And again, as I said, they have web feet, which I think is kind of crazy. So, and obviously, you know, they are endangered. So I think there's only like one zoo in the world that has success breeding them, and I think that's Singapore Zoo. But they're just so weird looking, and I think like they're definitely one of the most interesting creatures that have come from the Southeast Asia pack. So yeah, I'm glad to have them. I know people have mixed views on them, but I think I am quite glad to have them at the end of the day, because I think it just mixes things up a bit. Like, you know, we had the mandrills, but the mandrills they're kind of boring. They don't have any funky tails. They don't swim. They're just mandrills, you know. And again, you know how I feel about monkeys. They're kind of a bit meh, really. So yeah, we just bring out all the vegetation again. I cut out a fair bit of this just because, you know, you can see me place 1,000 trees, and I'm going to be placing a lot of the same foliage in the zoo just to keep the continuation. We've got our water lettuce stacks as well. We've got our lipstick plant. We've got the elephant ear and the lobster claw. And this is where I put all the enrichment items in. So I really hate the fact that these lilies are walkable. Like the blue lilies that came with the aquatic pack are walkable. It really annoys me because the animals that shouldn't, like, I had a picture the other day of a tapir just sitting on the water lilies, like, Jesus, just being able to walk on water. And it's like, no, the tapir would not be able to walk on those lily pads. They're not big enough for that. So yeah, and this is again just quickly flicking to the kind of nighttime now as well. You can see all the light work I've done. I've just been trying to sink like the orbs into the ground and colouring them just to try and blend it in. And then with this, I'm trying to blend in the foraging area, because this is the main area that the guests would view. Now, I imagine you could probably, if I'd had a bit more forethought, I probably could have put a boat ride in as part of this habitat. But I didn't think that far ahead, because I never think that far ahead when I'm building. Planning is not my thing. So yeah, again, I went to town with all the details, just trying to get all the torches, make it look like this is, you know, like a living village, I guess, with lots of light, lots of things, interesting things going on. Made some torches just to try and again sell that story that this is like a village in the rainforest, you know. The ground's really wet, so they've built the buildings in the trees, and I was having a bit of a nightmare building a torch, so I just went over here and just started to place them. And I really like how this whole zoo is turning out. I love the colours. I really like colourful things, and I just think that is making it look pretty. And so once I spent a bit of time doing the lighting, I then just went to try and finish this back area. So we have there's like this back area that they can access as well. I'll show you what I've done with this, because there's a lot I didn't record just because this video is almost 20 minutes long now, and I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. I'm going to shut up in a minute. But you know, it's just a lot to try and fit into one video, so I will show you some of it in a live view in a second. And there won't be any cinematics per se, they'll just be mainly like live view, because I'm trying to, you know, mix up my videos a little bit. I feel like the style was getting a bit boring. But yeah, I think, you know, I love these Australia pieces to use to build fences with. I just think it makes such interesting like light work and stuff like that. And I had a go at building, I think I left a little bit of it in. I had to go at building like a light structure because I was like, this is dark, let's light it up. And I really didn't like how it turned out, so I built this and then I delete it. I mean, I wanted to keep this in because I wanted to kind of show, you know, some of the thought process that goes behind this. But as you can see, it just wasn't working. It just really... I'm going to have a go at doing something similar in the future, but we shall have to see how it goes. But yeah, I think that's, you know, the most part for the build, really. There's a lot of just repetitiveness now, copying and pasting things. So I'll probably leave you there, and then I will catch you in live mode in just a second. But otherwise, enjoy the rest of the build, and I'll see you in a minute. Hey guys, and let's get back to live mode. So I think we actually have an animal talk going on, which is great to see. Yeah. Oh, and it's starting to snow. Well, this is going to go well. Yeah. A lot of the habitat is going to get covered. Let's just check out these while it's snowing. You know, proboscis monkeys in the snow. So yeah, for those who are wondering, with this whole pack, I have essentially, or whole zoo I should say, I have been putting like the heaters in the buildings to try and keep it realistic in that sense. But so as you can see, they are all literally running inside where it is warm to get out of the snow. So I don't blame these little guys. I think we've got another one that's just run all the way up here somewhere. Have you gone into a cave? I should probably put some heaters in these caves, actually. You guys, anyone in here? No. Well, not quite what I was expecting. I might just come back in a second when the snow's gone away. See you in a minute. Right, so we are back, and we actually have, so yeah, they just use the bridge. How cool is that? But yeah, we actually have, like, no more snow, which is good to see. These guys, they're using the feeders. Now that the snow's gone away, they're just really getting in there. No, it's really good to see. It's good to see them, just the animations and that, and actually have time to appreciate these, because I can't do it in Alphabet Zoo at the moment because it lags too much. So it's just nice to see these guys running around in full frames and it not lagging. But yeah, so they are all active and as if they would be in a real zoo, which is really cool to see. So they're eating all the food that's been put out. We've got a little baby proboscis monkey over here. Hello. Weird creature. they are such odd creatures. But yeah, so this is the habitat. So essentially we had the fence on this path over here, which was this like path here, and I didn't like it, so I spent a lot of time just digging the whole thing out, and I built this little fence and chucked this in here with like these plants on the top for the otter habitat. And then over here we have this new fence that I built, which is the African decorative pieces, which is not from the Africa pack, it's from like the little people you can build out of it, I guess. Put some torches on it, put some African logs in it, and I just really like how it turned out. It just makes this really nice like tiki kind of theme with all the lights on and all the torches and everything. So I'm a bit annoyed that you can see some of these orbs. I think they've changed it because you couldn't see a lot of them before the Africa Pack update, but anyway, I guess that's where we are. So yep, and then this is the side that I haven't shown you. So obviously I've done all this wonderful stuff, which I absolutely love what I've done with these water lettuce. Like I'm really happy with how they turned out. Like if you go underwater, you can see them like lit up underwater. So it's not just the top, so that they're like these like just floating lights. I think they're gorgeous, and I'm going to be using them throughout this whole area, I think. And yeah, so again, we just continued this kind of theme, slightly blander fence, trying to mix it up and put some torches in. And then I made a little tiki dude, which I think you saw in the speed build, but this is it, just how it is. This is, perhaps the person who lives in these huts. I don't know. But anyway, let's quickly zoom out into day mode. So all this area I built off camera, which is why I'm showing you now. So we have these funky little, this fence, again, like a planter type fence made out of the pallets. And if we go over here, I continue this up here, so this whole path is like covered with plants in the middle and then pallets on either side, which I just really like the aesthetic of pallets. And then we have some of the new Africa Pack benches popped in here. But yeah, I just wanted to separate this area from the main path, which it's separate anyway, like the main path is separate, but then I wanted to hide that like kind of seam, I guess. And then this is like the full-on seating area here. So we've got like some nice plants and a nice bit of seating. And then, yeah, I think that was pretty much most of it. This fence over here that I built for the tapir habitat now continues on both sides. It's a little bit wonky, but I mean, that's kind of the theme we're going for. Also, some other things I've been building. Signs for the area. So if you're facing this way and you go that way, you're entering the swamps. And if you face this way, you're entering the rainforest. So this is like that kind of intermediate zone, I guess. How are our monkeys doing? Are they doing anything interesting? Anything interesting at all? Climbing or anything? No, they don't. They don't seem to like to climb very much. But yeah. And then this is my current like plaza. This is the rainforest swamp plaza, and not heat maps. So if we just make it nighttime again, you can see what I've kind of done with this whole thing. We've got lights. We've got these lovely little plant things. Again, I think they have changed things with the update because the orbs were definitely not as clear before. And again, we've just got butterflies everywhere. Like I've been putting butterflies like in all the trees and just really working on it, trying to, build up this area. Like it's supposed to feel tropical. We had snow a minute ago, but I mean, hey, it's in a temperate zone for the animals, not for the zoo. And actually, as well, while we're in here, I'll just quickly show you what I've done with the caiman habitat too, because I've redone the caiman habitat. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, we've got the water lighting up here. It looks really cool at night, and I'm just really enjoying like working with the lights at the moment. And yeah, they're all in here. But yeah, I guess that's kind of it really for the little tour. I'll leave you with a couple of cinematics in a minute if you want to watch those. I know it's been a very long video. Kudos to you if you've stuck through it this long. And yeah, so if you have any questions about this build, let me know. I'm going to try and put different pieces of it on the workshop so people can access like the bridges and things. And I'm going to do a plant pack at some point as well. So if people want to have like, ready-made plants, then that's nice and easy too. But otherwise, I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care.